So you make a promise to yourself and to God, and you say, okay, you know what, God, I am not going to indulge in any, inappropriate, let's say, sexual behavior. I'm not going to watch porn, and I'm not going to sleep with any random guy. And then somehow you do. You don't just do that. You get stuck on pornographic content for weeks, and then you just find yourself having sex with random guys. And then you ask yourself, how did I get here? Now, in this kind of situation, there are two things that will most likely happen. One, you won't be able to talk to God because you'll be ashamed. And two, you'd have a hard time forgiving yourself for your misbehavior. Trust me, I know. Now, the truth is that we tend to find it a lot easier to let people off the hook when they wrong us. But when we are the ones who hurt other people or maybe hurt ourselves, it's a different ballgame. And we tend to struggle with unforgiveness when we make bad choices, like the one I just mentioned, or when we hurt other people's feelings, like maybe when you cheat on someone that you love, or you just do something that you just make a decision that doesn't really align with your personal values. Now, while the right and natural response to doing something wrong is feeling bad about it or feeling guilty about it, it could be destructive if you choose to wallow in that feeling, if you choose to wallow in that guilt. Because the truth of the matter is that in life, you will make mistakes. You won't always make the right choice. And so you've got to learn to pick yourself up and move on when you do make mistakes. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you on how to learn to forgive yourself. And some of the tips that I'm going to be sharing are just based on lessons that I have learned on my own journey. On that note, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Loretta Gerard, and on this space we have open, honest, authentic, heart-to-heart conversation on love, life, faith, and pretty much everything in between. If this is your first time, you are most welcome. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed already, and not just that, click on the notification bell so that you are notified when I have a new video up. Now, without further ado, drum roll, let's get straight into today's gist because it's going to be packed. Let's get straight into it. How to forgive yourself. Number one, take responsibility. Take responsibility. Identify the error, acknowledge the error, name the error. Because the truth is that if you do not take responsibility for it, then you will be unable to correct it. It will be difficult for you to prevent yourself from making that mistake again. And so I always say that maturity is the ability to take responsibility. Wow, makes sense. I like that. Maturity is the ability to take responsibility. So you have to learn to take responsibility for your actions. So identify that, acknowledge that yes, this stuff I did was wrong. It did not make sense. That is the first step. And doing that would help you. It'll put you in the right frame of mind. And of course, it'll also help you realize that, look, I'm human, So that is the first step in learning to forgive yourself. Take responsibility, acknowledge the error, name that error. In the example that I gave earlier in this video about watching pornographic content and then sleeping around with random men as against your promise to God and to yourself, the first thing you need to do is to take responsibility. Yes, I did it, and not blame it on anybody else. Don't say it's because this. Take responsibility. I did it, and admit that action was wrong. I did it and it was wrong. So yeah, first thing to do is to acknowledge it. Take responsibility. After you acknowledge that you have done something wrong, after you acknowledge that this thing I did is not making sense. It does not make sense. The next thing you do is to apologize. Now, if you have hurt someone's feelings, say I'm sorry. You won't die. Say I'm sorry. It's actually a sign of maturity to say I'm sorry when you've hurt someone's feelings, when you've done something to hurt another person. And if it's a bad decision that you made, apologize to yourself. It's a way of telling yourself that I respect myself, and so if I did something that hurt me, then I owe myself an apology. So apologize to yourself. Apologize to yourself for the mistake. Apologize to yourself for the error. Now, the next thing to do is to question the intention. Okay, let me just quickly give you a small gist. Years ago, when I think I was still in secondary school then, I learned this lesson. I had this very close friend of mine, and I think there was one time we were having issues. I think we were quarreling or something. You know how secondary school can be. And then I had this new set of friends, and because I wanted, for some weird reason, those new friends of mine didn't exactly like my old friend, my other friend, and so things that my friend told me, I went ahead and told these people. I just told them stuff that was really none of their business, and I remember when my friend got to hear the things I said about her to these new friends of mine, she was really heartbroken, and I felt terrible that I hurt her like that. I think about it till today, and I'm like, wow, that was wrong. But that experience taught me something, So it's very important to question your intention, which is what this next step is. Question the intention. Now, when I think about it, I think the reason I did that to my friend was just because I wanted to score some points, with these new friends of mine. I wanted them to accept me, I wanted to be in their good books, so I was willing to throw my friend under the bus to get their approval, to get their validation, which now doesn't make sense, but of course then I didn't know. So now it's important to question your intention. What was the reason for that behavior? Because behind every behavior is an intention, and behind every intention is a thought or a series of thought processes. So ask yourself, why did I do this thing? And that would help you to course correct. Next thing to do is to note the lesson. I heard this quote somewhere, and it says that life is a teacher. The more we live, the more we learn. The truth is that all our experiences are there to teach us something. The older you get, the more you learn about life. So when you make a mistake, when you make the wrong choice, when you hurt someone's feelings, when you hurt your own feelings, when you engage in destructive behavior, and now you understand, because now you see the consequences of your actions, note the lessons, because every experience has its own lesson. So note the lesson, because if you do not learn the lesson, you are getting ready for a repeat. Life will not leave you until you learn that lesson. So learn the lesson, and learn the lesson, and choose to do better next time. Choose to do better when next you have the opportunity. Maybe, for example, you cheated on someone that you love, and the person walked away, or the person ended that relationship. Yeah, it's normal for you to feel bad about it, but then now learn the lesson and choose to do better next time. That is how you grow. Do not condemn yourself for it. Even God himself doesn't condemn you, So understand that yes, you have made a mistake. Learn the lessons, glean the lessons from that experience, and choose to move ahead. Another tip: recognize that you are human. You are human. Nobody is perfect. People make mistakes all the time. And can I tell you something? There is nothing new under the sun. So there's nothing that you think that you have done that is new. So maybe you cheated on someone that you love. It's bad that it happened, but you're not the first person, and you most definitely will not be the last. Maybe you failed at an exam. You know, you're not the first person to do so, and you most definitely will not be the last. Whatever it is, there is nothing new under the sun. Humans are imperfect. Nobody, absolutely nobody is perfect. So you must recognize your humanity. You must recognize that as a human being, you are imperfect, and that means that you would make mistakes. That means that you won't always make the right decisions. That means that you won't always make the right choices, and that is okay. Okay, now the final tip that I have on how to forgive yourself is to determine to do better. You know, life will always be life, and when you fall, you have to make a conscious decision to get up. When you make a mistake, don't wallow in it, because it doesn't help anyone. Wallowing in the guilt, wallowing and, you know, throwing yourself a pity party doesn't help anybody. You know what helps? Getting up, dusting yourself up, and choosing to do better. You can do better. You do not have to be defined by that error. You do not have to be defined by that mistake. Do you understand? So choose to do better. Decide in your mind that, okay, you know what, I did this stuff, I'm sorry about it, but I choose to forgive myself, and I choose to not let it repeat itself. You must understand that you are in charge of your life. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a participant. Like, you are the one in charge of this life that you live. And so you can decide you can decide to change. You can decide to change. So I also need you to understand that the past does not equal the future. So the fact that you made this mistake today doesn't mean that, oh, now your future is destroyed. No, you can decide to make that change so that the past doesn't affect your future. So choose to do better. Choose not to wallow in that guilt. Choose to rise above it. Choose to. And so we've come to the end of today's video. Let me just quickly run through everything that I talked about in terms of learning to forgive yourself. I said that you must learn to take responsibility for your actions, acknowledge that you have made a mistake, admit that you have made a mistake. I also said that you should question the intention, ask yourself, why did I do what I did? Question the intention, question the motive, ask yourself why. Then I also said that you should apologize to the people that you hurt, or the person that you hurt. And not just that, also apologize to yourself. Recognize that you are human. You are human, and humans are not perfect. We make mistakes all the time. Note the lessons, glean the lessons from your experience, and also finally choose to do better. Determine to do better. Determine that you will rise above this error, and you will not allow it deter you from the glorious future that you have ahead of you. Because the truth of the matter is that even though you made a mistake, your mistakes do not define you, your past does not define you, and there is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ. And God doesn't condemn you, He loves you regardless of your mistakes. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment. You know, if you have extra tips that you'd like to add, leave me a comment. Subscribe if you haven't done that already. And yeah, thank you once again for watching. I'll see you again in my next video. Bye bye.